Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. So we're gonna have one hell of a train wreck to go through today. Now, let me pull up the screenshot that's kind of starting everything. So the thing is with William Shatner, which is obviously who we're talking about today, so I never actually interacted with him. I don't think I've actually ever like tweeted at him or any of that kind of stuff. But he went ahead and blocked me for you guys asking him, essentially here it is, for you guys asking him about why he would say just some certain real fucked up things, as you guys can tell from the title, things we are most certainly getting into. So that was my screenshot of finding out he had blocked me, and I was like, okay, that's kind of like cute, whatever. But he couldn't stop talking about me from behind the block. It was like hilarious. It was like I really upset this playground bully on Twitter. So I just kind of thought it was funny, and then I kind of started to look more into William Shatner and just his past, a lot more of his tweets, because apparently he really doesn't like that. And I decided to take a look at his own words that he uses, and realizing just how destructive and damaging they are. And I figured I would just kind of share that with you guys because it's very interesting, although not cool. So here is the original, or no, where's the, because I screenshotted 4 things. So the original tweet, he screenshots himself because he's not backing down on this thing. Essentially, when I was talking about Sia and the issues with Autism Speaks, it was, and how she was like working with them and stuff like that for her video, it was brought up to me that in the stream that William Shatner also is a big supporter of Autism Speaks and actively like beats down on people using his Twitter and anyone who disagrees with him. So if someone who is autistic says like, hey, like this is actually like offensive to me, like, and tries to like educate them or something like that, he decides to bully them instead on Twitter and then block them when he's like fully annoyed with them. So I found that to be a little bit fucky-wucky. Yeah, sorry, Autism Speak. So anyway, he says at some point that every person on this planet goes through a form of ABA when growing up. It's taught, or it's being taught how polite society expects you to act. Having autism isn't really an excuse to avoid those lessons and grow up like a savage, which when I saw that tweet at the time, I was like, he did not just insinuate that someone who is autistic is a savage because their brain literally works differently and they have to learn, you know, and they interact in a different way. It was like, it was the weirdest thing for me. So the fact that he screenshots his own tweet, won't take it down, and like doubles down on it, he like doubles and triples down on this shit and has gone off. He blocked me because he said that I turned a molehill into a mountain. So if that's the game he wants to play, then let's go ahead and give him a mountain to deal with. So what I found were a real couple few interesting headlines, tweets, and I just figured we could just share them today. Again, here he is. Top part is obviously defending the savage tweet. So I screenshotted that and posted it. Then there's this one where he doubles down and defines savage, meaning not domesticated or under human control, untamed savage beasts, or lacking the restraints normal to civilized human beings. So then he doubles down to clarify that that is his definition of savage, which by definition now, he has gone on to say that when he calls an autistic person a savage for having some potential difficulty to interact with the general public, if they do, that it now means that they are undomesticated or untamed savage beasts. From his own tweets, he chose this definition, he screenshotted it, and he chose to tweet that out to the world. In-fucking-credible. Honestly, you're losing brain cells. Honestly, me too. So we're gonna go take a look at that, and here's another one. So this person says, Bill, ABA is blatantly abusive. No neurotypical child would ever be subjected to it, and no autistic child should be. It doesn't fix anything. And he's just like, well, you know, this is your opinion. And then it of course, continues to then call someone who is autistic a spoiled brat or a savage, etc. Wild. Autism Speaks instilled a very unhealthy mindset about what autism is, what it could be, and how to deal with it. and they treated it like a disease. Up until 2016, I believe it was, they fully supported the connection that vaccines could cause autism. And it was something that their CEO had to retract in late 2016 or early 2017 on like Good Morning America or some shit like that. It was something that I covered in the very first Autism Speaks video. And it is horrifying. So he's like, no, they stopped doing that in 2009. You're using old facts, like, you're an old fucking artifact, dude. Like, shut up if we're gonna like really be even about this. Which, oh yeah, that reminds me, because he might want to take that like out of context and be like, oh my god, she's ageist, blah blah blah. I have some stuff of him being ageist, sexist, using alt-right language to demean people, so don't even start with me right now. Like, I have fucking had it with this old man. Like, where's that meme where it's like, I've had it with the old man with the like beating stick? Before we even get into debunking the rest of his Twitter shenanigans, let's go ahead and take a look at some of his past events, because I think that's kind of important to see just what kind of person we're actually dealing with. I think that's kind of important. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start with this one. So here's an article from Newsweek. So this article says, and this is from December 23rd, 2018. So this is just about 2 years ago. So I would not consider this old news, right? So let's go ahead and see what it says, right? William Shatner blasted for hysterical #MeToo comments. You are in denial. So there you go. William Shatner has received backlash online for his controversial take of the #MeToo movement. On Saturday, he tweeted that women are using the movement as a weapon when they don't get their way. There we go. Let's go ahead and let that first one sit. But of course, there's a tweet for it. He says, I'm offended that you use that without understanding my issue. Oh, I'm sorry. Is this him responding to this? It shows ignorance. My issue is that women use Me Too as a weapon when they don't get an autograph, when they get their way, etc. And the circus that ensues is comical and sad, aka hysterical. Oh my god. Oh, just kidding. Wow. Anyway, so he continues to be a piece of shit, so that's, I guess, nothing new. We're just gonna, you know, finish putting the last nail in the casket for him, I guess. Interesting, isn't it? That's right, guys. This just in. Sexual assault is just a tool. Explaining you've been sexually assaulted is now just... That's apparently okay in Hollywood. It just makes you think, doesn't it? That someone who finally has the courage to come out that they were sexually assaulted by somebody and they have this kind of shit to deal with. Something that is a deeply personal attack and that can have lasting, lifelong effects on that individual. And this is what he has to say about it. So, although a number of users praise this tweet, which I hate every single one of these people, others criticize the actor. What else do they use as a weapon? Rape accusations? Let's go back to the days when women were constantly disbelieved, shall we? You are in denial about the scale of sexual harassment, which I totally stand by. It's just weird. So, we're gonna go with that. Tweet number 1 situation from his past, which isn't even that far away. Let's go ahead and go on and move on to the homophobia accusations for William Shatner. So this is written in September 10th, 2019. So this is just over a year old, which again, wouldn't consider that to be old news. So let's go ahead and continue on. So Star Trek legend William Shatner came under attack on Twitter from a number of people who claims the actor blocks people due to their sexuality. Now that's interesting. That's interesting because that's new. I assume this was going to have something to do with George Takei, but I think we kind of found out as well that he doesn't really, you know, care for the LGBT community. He kind of thinks lowly upon us. So this person goes, hey, William Shatner, which nickname do you like best? Will, Bill, Billy, Billiam, or homophobe? And Shatner blocked him, saying that he appeared to be friends of a BTS troll. So now he's blaming it on the K-pop stans, which Lord knows the fact that the K-pop stans didn't like beat the ever-living daylights out of him already is incredible. I figured the stans would have snatched him up already. So someone's like, just block the ankle biters, and so he's just like, oh yeah, if you're a BTS troll, I guess if you're a fan of BTS, you're now a troll. So I guess that Annie, darling, made it about her sexuality instead of her harassment. Always be the victim, it'll get you nowhere. Oh boy. Oh look, William Shatner's been screenshotted again. We'll move on to this one, which was kind of weird. Now this one's from September 5th, 2012, so this one might be too old for Mr. Shitty Poo. William Shatner accused of harassing his handyman. And so this is going to be about how he treats the people that work for him. So we're going to go ahead and continue into developing and creating this pretty easy, understandable formula here for how he treats people he works with and people around him. So William Shatner's former handyman claims in court that he was harassed and fired after refusing to sign a release for an on-the-job injury. Now that's interesting. Oscar Alfaro and his wife Delmy sued Shatner and his wife Elizabeth for wrongful termination in Superior Court. So subsequent to the filing, defendants of each of them began a pattern and practice of discrimination and harassment against plaintiff Oscar Alfaro in retaliation for refusing to sign a release for an injury he sustained at the premises of this location, which I guess is a location or property that Shatner owns. Defendants and each of them retaliated against plaintiff. And so I guess what happens is Alfaro injured his back after slipping on a wet driveway. He and Shatner offered to pay Alfaro an amount that did not cover the cost of his medical bills. What Mr. Shatner did, in my opinion, is against public policy, and I believe that we may need a court ruling or jury verdict to determine what was proper under the circumstances. So let's go on another employee thing here. This is from 2012. William Shatner is finding himself in legal trouble because his former employees are suing him for wrongful termination. I bet these are the same ones. They are. It's Oscar Alfaro. So it looks like they did, in fact, go ahead and file for wrongful termination after a fucking injury. Disgusting. So, but we're still not done, because of course we're not. I really liked the title of this one because it still stands true right now. Star Trek icon William Shatner doesn't know when to stop tweeting. So this was published October 29th, 2019, so just over a year ago, and I think this is very fitting considering what we're going to be talking about today. It's kind of funny. So let's go on, and of course we gotta have a big photo of his greasy face, but that's okay. He's kind of got a Trump like face and tan going on, like not gonna lie, like not just like trying to shit on him for the fact of it, but like he's got the orange man look. He's got the orange look, he's got the little pursed lips. This could almost be a Donald Trump deepfake with different hair. Like how, I love the sass in this. William Shatner is at it again. This is the kind of article we're here for. Last week, Star Trek actor started to attack Genre's fans on Twitter for over a day. For those who are not familiar with the Game of Thrones fandom, he was targeting Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen's shippers. I'm sorry if I butcher that. I was not personally a Game of Thrones fan, but I will still go to town and defend, you know, fans of that show because, like, if the guy attacking them is being unreasonable, which I believe he is unreasonable. Robot Dude says, a best part of that Gene Roddenberry actually created a Vulcan word that basically means boyfriend, and it was used by Spock while referring to Kirk. Interesting. Targaryen? Okay, is that how you say it? Thank you, Sunflower. So the reason? Because apparently some of them like the idea of the two co-stars' beautiful friendship being a bit more than a friendship. Now, disagreeing with a ship is fine, but it's not okay to attack the integrity of the character of people you disagree with over a ship. Here is one of the many tweets that Shatner found suitable to send out. God, the sass. The sass! So let's go ahead and see what he thought was a good idea to send out. So someone responds to William Shatner saying, so much anger in this one. Let me zoom up for you guys so we can just get that nice and clear and in view. I wonder what the real problem is. She should address it before she gets herself in real trouble. Cursing at people on Twitter is relatively safe, but eventually she's going to have to deal. William Shatner responds and says, a lot of these badly behaved fans are children. They act out in line because they are lonely. This is a good way to be popular amongst the mean girls when they really wouldn't be accepted in real life by the popular types. If they focused on doing good things, they'd get more attention. So a couple things to unpack right in this very first tweet here. One, he lives by the assumption that the only purpose in life is to have as much attention as possible. Very cool, Mr. Shatner. And then the other thing is obviously just like discussing shipping and stuff like that, going back and attacking someone's integrity and just being like, well, your opinion's not valid because you're probably like a loser by some weird definition that I've designed in my head. That means you're a loser. Essentially, if you're not the popular kid in high school type as an adult, you're a loser and your opinions are not valid on the internet, according to Shatner. Now, it looks like Shatner has been taking screenshots of tweets made by people he disagrees with and tweeting those screenshots for his 2+ million followers to see. This isn't exactly uncommon social media conduct from Shatner. While he is most likely known for his role in Star Trek, he now spends a lot of his time just attacking people on Twitter. So apparently what he does now as an old man in his decrepit age is just attack people on Twitter until he just dies, I guess. People with millions of followers on social media should recognize the power that they have. Even if a famous person has the best of intentions, by quote tweeting or posting a screenshot of a tweet that includes someone's username, they could subject us regular people to abuse from their followers. So this person's not sure how Shatner found their tweet and retweeted them. I was confused as to why so many of his stans were DMing me and telling me that I was a terrible person, and some were threatening my physical safety. I put my account on lockdown and started to try and figure out why I got attacked. I tried to go to Shatner's Twitter profile, but I was unable to because he had blocked me. So it looks like this is pretty standard MO. If you hurt his fragile little bruised ego, he's gonna, talk shit about you behind the blocky walkies. So that's pretty typical for Shatner, apparently. This is an established MO, which seems like what he's done to me, which is kind of cute in a way. Like, I've got the Shatner, blocked badge of honor. So after logging out, I went to his profile and saw he had not only quoted my tweet, putting me on the receiving end of the hate from thousands. No, he had gone on my profile to see who I was. He had gone and tagged The Tempest and asked if they wanted someone like me working for them. He literally used his power and influence to try and get me fired. Think about that. So obviously this person didn't get fired because they're writing for The Tempest about the situation, right? So they're turning what was potentially a negative situation into a good one. Imagine literally being that purposefully malicious. Anyone who's sitting here like, he didn't know, he didn't understand, he's just old. He knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what the fuck he was doing. And because someone said something he didn't like, he tried to ruin their entire fucking life and the way they make money. How is that okay? How is this behavior okay? Now, fortunately, as the writer says, my colleagues and boss defended me, but I was genuinely concerned that a silly one-word tweet was going to affect my media career. My guess is Shatner never thought about me the day after this whole Twitter scuffle, but I was affected by this for months. We're still not done, though, before we even get to the Autism Speaks shit, because now we've got some more William Shatner stuff, and boom. William Shatner uses alt-right language in Twitter fights with Outlander fans. So, Mr. Shatner uses alt-right language in Twitter fights. Interesting. Something I found about people who tend to use a lot of alt-right language is they tend to be alt-right. Now, I'm not going to say, right, that he is, because I don't think he's publicly disclosed his political stuff, and I believe he's Canadian. But it doesn't mean he can't have an opinion on American politics, obviously. But yeah, so I tend to find when people want to use alt-right language, fights, debates, that kind of shit, that they tend to kind of vibe with those beliefs, because otherwise you don't, like, those words are just not part of your vocabulary. It's the same thing I say, like, when someone says the R slur, or the N-word, or maybe the F slur. Like, if you're the type of person, like, to have those words regularly in your vocabulary, it didn't just show up one day magically and then went away just as easy. Like, it's something you've been using. You know what I mean? So I find it really hard to believe when I find people that are like, oh no, like, I said this like a couple years ago, and it's over now. No, you've been on this shit for some time. You don't just accidentally drop the N-word, you know what I mean? It's a word you say, and it actually accidentally slipped out to a group of people that you don't normally say it to. That's what fucking happened here. So when I find an article like this, right, William Shatner uses alt-right language in Twitter fights against Outlander fans, it tells me a couple things. Obviously, we're going to take a look at the tweets, and we're going to see what this article's definition of alt-right language means, right? But what we're going to also pull from here is, like, is this alt-right language? And if it is, why the fuck did he say this? Because if we can determine that this is in fact what is considered like alt-right language. So when I find out someone's using alt-right language, it didn't just pop up one day. You know what I mean? Like the old decrepit William Shatner didn't just one day go, I'm going to use all sorts of alt-right terminology. You know what I mean? He's been saying it for some time. And then it slowly becomes part of your vocabulary of what you say on a daily basis, how you speak, how you interact with people. So when I find out that this is an article now, you've probably been saying it for some time and you probably hold similar beliefs to some degree. So let's go ahead and get into the article. So, add Star Trek legend William Shatner to the list of deeply problematic celebrities. I'm going to zoom this up so we have nice, big, bold font. What is that? We don't like that box. The 86-year-old actor, so a couple years ago, who appears to spend an inordinate amount of time on Twitter mixing it up with and taunting various fandoms, has lately adopted the language of the alt-right to tear down detractors. His most recent tweet tirade occurred over the weekend when he fought with shippers, fans who cheer for their occasional fictional relationships to become real, of the star's historical series Outlander, resorting to calling them snowflakes, SJWs, making ageist comments, and claiming he was a target of misandry at the hands of feminists. This hurtful language Twitter spewed off was an affront to geekdom, essentially the fan group that launched his career when he starred in the original Star Trek television show 51 years ago. Take that in. So, he is going, like, chances are, Shatner likes to use things like, you can't say that I'm old, you can't make fun of me because I'm old, but I had seen this paragraph already before I started the stream because I was like, no, you motherfucker did not. Making ageist comments. So it's okay if he says it, but it's not okay if we say it. So we're going to go ahead and continue. I do want to clarify, not to my knowledge, Shatner has not said the N-word and Shatner has not said the R slur as well. I do want to clarify that he has not. It was just a general kind of random example, shall we say. While shipping involves an element of fantasy with fans searching for hints and clues of people who could secretly be together, Shatner took it upon himself to dash the hopes of Outlander fans who would imagine two of the show stars, Sam Hewhan, who plays Jamie, and I'm not saying her name, who plays Claire. I'm not even bothering to pronounce it. I apologize. Today is not that day for me. To become a couple in real life. So Shatner apparently had beef with that. Shatner's beef with Outlander fans began over a year ago, but he's back to fighting with them in the language often used by misogynists on sites like 4chan and Reddit, the former being a place that Shatner has admitted to frequenting. Wait, Shatner's a 4chan user? What? What? What the fuck? What? No, that does not actually say that. Hold on. Sorry, I need to reread the sentence. I'll read it out loud just so I don't sit here just quietly. I need to reread that just for like my mind to process what the fuck was just said. Shatner's beef with Outlander fans began over a year ago, but he's back to fighting with them in the language often used by misogynists on sites like 4chan and Reddit, the former being a place that Shatner has admitted to frequenting. Nope, that's exactly what it said. What? I'm just gonna physically hold my fucking head in my hand right now. His Twitter rant included the following gems. Love it when the articles get sassy. So, William Shatner. Funny how an actress with an impressive resume is belittled by same feminists who say that an 86-year-old man telling the truth is a misogynist. Okay. String people along. Snowflake. The only ones who are saying that are the bullies like you who made up a fairy tale. Yikes. Okay. So this person says, do you think they even know what a misogynist is? But then again, I am not a feminist. I think men and women should at least like each other. And he goes, yes, their definition, guys who don't agree with their misandry. And William Shatner again. Why is it that SJWs think they can align themselves with those that demanded social reform in the 60s? Alright, so when I log out, I can see what's happening on Twitter. Fool. Here we go. So this is the tweet from Twitter, because there we go. You can block me, but you can't hide someone who's not logged in. So this was posted in 2017, and this person says the hero of hashtag Star Trek is against the social justice of the Federation. Why would you use SJW as a slur? He says, why is it that SJWs think they can align themselves with those that demanded social reform? I think it's because the base premise is still demanding social reform. It's just not the 60s anymore. Incredible. So William Shatner goes on and he goes, and this is your failure of logic. SJWs stand for inequality, where they are superior to anyone else, hence my use of misandry and snowflake. Again, I would agree that anyone who's just openly cool with using the term SJW in a non-ironic way, like this way to like attack people, it's a little awkward, like not gonna lie. You know, it's got the awkward turtle hands going. So now we're gonna continue on into what was going on recently. So he says, correction. Oh, so this person goes, he's been arguing with autistic people for hours and it's hilarious. So he responds and says, correction, I've been arguing with people on the upper level of the autistic spectrum for years. They only speak for themselves individually, but love to think they were elected as worldwide spokesperson of the group. So he's using something which I had to learn, which as you guys knew from the Sia video, right? Sia claims she did like 3 years of research about autism and yet still called people high and low functioning. Shatner's using the same sentiments here, with saying the upper level of the spectrum. So he's using like a combination of the two, which is quite interesting. So, oh God, this is giving me such a fucking headache now. Sorry. He just hurts me. So he says this kind of shit. He also says, this person goes, wow, you're a proud child abuser. What is this? Your poor son is going to be scarred for life for you, and that breaks my heart. This person responds, talk about someone who really doesn't know what the heck she's talking about. ABA is widely accepted to be beneficial, so making accusations show complete ignorance. So he references, let's see here, a WebMD article. And since obviously I'm blocked, since I'm back on my thing, we're going to go to WebMD Autism ABA and see if we can pull this similar link. Okay, so I think I found the link. All right. So this is the link that Shatner is referring to. And then we're going to go through and we're going to discuss this a little bit, right? Because this is going to be my first point of contention with him when it comes to this. And something that needs a bit of a debunking, shall we say, right? So, WebMD says, ABA, this is one of the most widely accepted therapies for children with autism spectrum disorder. ABA training is most effective if therapy begins when children are younger than the age of 5. It helps teach social, motor, and verbal behavior, as well as reasoning skills, and works to manage challenging behavior. It's based on teaching these skills through observation and positive reinforcement. Okay. So that's what it says, right? That's a very general statement, right? That sounds pretty good right there, right? There's nothing, you know, if you were to take that at face value from webmd.com, a very reliable source, I mean, at surface level, I guess that's not bad. Do they say anything about the drawbacks on here, or no, they don't. They don't. They only mention this. Okay, that's fine. So we're going to go ahead and this is what he's using as his definition, right? So we're going to take this. Okay, so this is what he's claiming, right? And at surface level, this doesn't sound horrific, right? You hear positive reinforcement, you hear this is engaging, and this is, you know, observation. Like this is, you know what I mean? It sounds good, right? It sounds good initially on the surface. So let's go ahead and break down ABA. So William Shatner has stated, going back to the tweet about where he said that you're essentially a savage if you don't go through ABA. Okay, that tweet. Let's bring it back. So this right here, this tweet. Every other person on this planet goes through a form of ABA when growing up. It's being taught how to politely act, or how society. It's being taught how polite society expects you to act. Having autism isn't really an excuse to avoid those lessons and grow up like a savage. And it goes on to say like society will shun you and all this shit, right? Okay, so while that's happening, let's take a little learning lesson here, right? So he says this is how polite society expects you to act. He says that autistic people who don't go through ABA are growing up as savages, which, again, he reinforces here with the definition of what he believes savage is. Okay? He says that autistic people who don't go through it are growing up like savages. And yet, in another tweet, he also apparently states that ABA isn't a be-all, end-all. ABA is ABA necessary in order to be, in his words, or in... let me butcher my own words. Is ABA necessary in order to not be, in his words, a savage? Or is it optional? Shatner, in many of his tweets, will advocate for ABA, and advocates for Autism Speaks, who pushes this as well. And this is pretty unsurprising to any of you that are familiar with the channel, because it's pretty irresponsible. So let's go ahead and look at what Autism Speaks says about ABA.